Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite white colonizer, coming to you live from the Middle East here in Israel, to all the traveling clad. We're taking a look at a conversation between Mosab Hassan Youssef and Tzvi Cheskeli, two legends in the game.
For how long we're going to go into this madness? Israel is going nowhere. And they're only capable of destroying themselves, not the destruction of Israel. They cannot destroy a nation that is resilient to time, that was established before history. They cannot do this. The funny thing, they don't have any legitimacy. You know, I grew up thinking that there was a Palestine that had been occupied by Israel. I look into it, and Palestine is nothing but a colonial entity created by the Brits. It was never a country, and Palestinian is not an ethnicity.
That's for sure.
It's not a religion, it's not a race. So basically, anybody who claims to be a Palestinian, they don't have even any type of legitimacy. Come on, let's put the files on the table. What gives you legitimacy?
Okay, I have to cut off because I have to cut. We'll continue the rest of the video in a second. I have to expand a little bit on these points because it's so important. For anybody who's coming across my channel for the first time, I try to educate on this topic as much as possible, and I'll take it one step further than Mosab. Just listen to what he says here.
That had been occupied by Israel. I look into it, and Palestine is nothing but a colonial entity created by the Brits. It was never a country, and Palestinian is not an ethnicity.
It's so important. If you want to get the truth about Palestine, when somebody tells you pro-Palestinian, I support Palestinians, ask them the question, who are the Palestinians? Who are Palestinians? Are they an ethnicity? Okay, so what is their ethnicity? Who makes up this ethnicity? How do you define a Palestinian? Well, they're Arab. Well, wait, Arabs exist in Iraq, and they exist in Saudi Arabia, and they exist in Lebanon, so are they the same? No, they're different. They're Palestinian. Palestinian is a national identity based on a colonial project from, one, the Romans, then the Arabs, then pushed by the British. There is no legitimacy to Palestinian identity. What I'll say is there is now a new generation since 67 that really buys into this brainwashing of Palestinian identity. And to be honest, it's not something you can really remove. They believe they're Palestinian. I can't take it away from them. What I hope to do is offer the truth and the history behind the topic, which is, one, Arabs are not native to this land. They colonized this land. So anybody who falls into the Arab identity is kind of falling into a colonial identity that came and conquered and conquested this land. But two, okay, this is maybe the most important point, most Palestinians are not actual Arabs. They have nothing to do with Arabs. And the real Arabs, I don't want to point which countries, but the ones who live from the place that Arabs came from, don't even consider Palestinians as real Arabs. And this is the case in most of the Middle East and North Africa. Any country you go to, they don't consider the next Arab person a real Arab because they came from X place or X place. This is the truth about Palestinians, and nobody wants to tell you. Nobody thinks they're real. They don't even believe they're real Muslims. Nobody believes they're real Arabs because they're not. Genetically, their history, they are not Arabs. A lot of them are probably Jews, but they're colonized in their mentality. A lot of them are probably Semitic people from here, whether that be early Christian groups or Jewish groups or maybe Phoenicians or Philistines, who knows? Who knows what they are? But Arabs, it's probably a small percentage of them that are actual Arabs. And nobody wants to talk about this thing. So not only is it colonialism, but it's like 3 layers deep of colonialism. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off Mosab, but it's interesting.
It's not a religion, it's not a race.
Absolutely not.
So basically, anybody who claims to be a Palestinian, they don't have even any type of legitimacy. Come on, let's put the files on the table. What gives you legitimacy? You are nobody, you are nothing. You are not even a people. You don't qualify for anything. You don't even qualify as a human society. You cannot be trusted.
I would say maybe it's a little too extreme. I consider them human society, just a shitty part of human society. Like there's many shitty countries in this world. One that comes to mind, Pakistan. Just a shitty country, right? Where their society is bad. The people who come out of that country a lot of times are very bad. Their cultures, their practices are very bad. Same thing with Palestinian society. A lot of times, Their culture and their practices are very bad. They're bad for humanity. And I say this as somebody who has had a lot of ground interactions with Palestinians, and I love them. I love them and I care about them deeply. Truly. I kind of like their culture. I love their food. I love the experiences I've had with Palestinians. So I know it sounds like a bit hypocritical, but objectively, they feed into terrorism often, they feed into religious extremism often, and they take action upon it. And they do this everywhere in the world, not just in Israel. They do this everywhere in the world. They don't contribute much to humanity, which is an issue. And it's funny because it can be combated because Palestinian is a national identity. It's like being Israeli. Israeli is not an identity. It's not a group. It's a national identity. We are the Jews of Israel. There's Arabs inside of Israel. There's all kinds of minorities and other groups of people inside of Israel as a nationality. But Palestinian is a nationality. When you ask somebody who a Palestinian is, it's just another Arab. So then what's stopping you from going to live in any other Arab country? Why can't you be adjusted and taken into any other Arab country? Why do other Arabs not want this one nationality to come in? They're not a different ethnic group. Anyways, this is what I always say. Free Palestine and the Palestinian movement is an absolute scam. If you're not awake, it is a scam. It's an absolute scam. It's there to take your money, your government's money. It's there to destroy your life. Wake up, people. If you're on the pro-Palestine side, you got to wake up. I love you guys a long time. Thanks for supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, class. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.